What if the key to your spiritual awakening has always been inside you? Not in your mind, not in the stars, but inside your own body. More specifically, in the womb. The womb is one of the most misunderstood and overlooked parts of the human body. We usually think of it as just a place where babies grow. But what if it's far more than that? What if the womb is a doorway, is a bridge between the seen and the unseen? Many ancient cultures believed exactly that. They saw the womb as a sacred space, a place that connects us to the divine, to nature, and to the mysteries of life itself. But over time, this wisdom was buried, forgotten, replaced by science that only looks at the physical, and a culture that teaches us to ignore the deeper power of the feminine. This is a story about remembering, about awakening, and about listening to a part of you that has been waiting in silence for lifetimes. Long ago, before temples had walls and religions had rules, people worshipped something older than any god, the womb. In Egypt, the goddess Isis was called the Queen of the Womb. In ancient India, the yoginis practiced sacred rituals to honor the creative force of life inside the feminine body. And in Greece, the secret ceremonies of Demeter and Persephone led people into the earth, into the womb of the world, to be spiritually reborn. These weren't myths, they were teachings, coded messages passed down from people who knew something. We've forgotten. The womb is more than flesh. It's a symbol, a vessel, a mirror of the universe itself. It's the dark, quiet place from which all things are born. Not just babies, but dreams, insights, and even entire worlds. But somewhere along the way, this knowledge was hidden, stolen, buried under fear, shame, and the rise of systems that wanted power over life instead of reverence for it. Now, the time has come to remember. Have you ever felt a truth deep in your body before your mind could explain it? That's womb wisdom. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in feelings, in energy, in a deep inner knowing that can't be explained, but also can't be denied. Science now tells us that the body holds memory, trauma, emotion. But ancient wisdom always knew this. The womb, especially, is a keeper of emotional truth, a living journal of your life and even the lives of those who came before you. Some say the womb is a second brain. Others say it's our first. It's where intuition is born, where your body senses what your mind has forgotten, where your soul speaks in silence. And here's the strange thing, the more you listen to it, the more it speaks about your purpose, your power, and what you truly need to feel whole. Real spiritual growth doesn't always feel like light. Sometimes it feels like darkness, pain, confusion, loss. But what if that darkness isn't a mistake? What if it's part of the path? Just like birth, spiritual awakening often begins in the unknown, in the discomfort, in the void. The womb teaches us this truth. Every month it lets go, every cycle it sheds. And when a new life is to be born, it goes through pain, pressure, and transformation. The womb doesn't fear the dark, it lives there. It creates from there. When you're in your darkest moment, when you feel like everything is falling apart, that's not the end. It might be the beginning. A descent is not a fall. It's a return to the center of yourself, to the place where something deeper can finally emerge. But what about men? If the womb is so important for spiritual awakening, what does that mean for those who don't have one physically? Here's the mystery. The womb is not just an organ. It's an energy, an inner space, a spiritual center that lives in all of us, regardless of gender. Many ancient teachings talk about this inner womb as a sacred space of creation, a place where thoughts, visions, and energies come into form. In Taoist practices, men are taught to develop their lower energy centers, their own version of the womb. And in psychology, Carl Jung wrote about the feminine soul inside every man, waiting to be listened to. This isn't about gender, it's about balance, receptivity, stillness, depth. The modern world teaches us to go, act, do. But the womb reminds us to stop, feel, and become, to receive life instead of always chasing it. You carry stories in your blood that you've never been told. Inside the womb, memories are passed on through cells, genes, and energy. The joys and traumas of your ancestors live on in you. Science calls this epigenetics. Mystics call it soul memory. The womb stores these echoes of the past. That's why some pain feels older than your life, and why some wisdom seems to rise from nowhere. Practices like ritual, dance, breathwork, and meditation can help unlock this deep memory. They can awaken what's been sleeping inside you, waiting to guide you. When you begin to feel these memories, not just think about them, you realize the womb isn't just a part of your body, it's your connection to those who came before you, and those still to come. It's the library of your soul. Here's a paradox. The womb is powerful because it is empty. It creates life not because it's full, but because it has space. The same is true for you. Sometimes you need to let go, to become still, to empty out who you think you are, so that something deeper can enter. Buddhists call this emptiness. Taoists call it the void. Scientists see it in the space between atoms, where the mystery of creation hides. The womb is a living example of this cosmic truth, that from stillness all movement begins, from darkness light is born, from nothing everything comes. What would happen if you trusted the emptiness in your life instead of fearing it? What would you find in the silence if you finally let yourself listen? So how do we begin? Not with steps, not with rules, but with remembrance. To walk the womb path is to live with deep awareness, to listen to your body, to honor your emotions, to trust the rhythms of nature and your own soul. It's a quiet path, a sacred one, not loud like achievement, but deep like water. You might light a candle, you might sit in silence, you might dance or cry, or simply place your hand over your belly and listen. The womb doesn't need to be explained, it needs to be felt. It is your inner temple waiting to be reclaimed, and whether you have one physically or not, the womb is not lost, it's only been forgotten. And now, it is remembering you. What if the greatest doorway to the universe lies not in the stars, but inside the human body? More specifically, inside the womb. Most people think of the womb as simply a place where life begins, but ancient traditions saw something deeper. They believed the womb was a spiritual gateway, a portal between worlds, between the seen and the unseen. From the beginning of time, humans have asked, where do we come from? What is consciousness? Could it be that the answers have always been within us, hidden in the space we came from? This story isn't just about biology, it's about awakening, remembering, reconnecting with a truth that was buried long ago. Thousands of years ago, many cultures saw the womb as sacred. In ancient Egypt, the Temple of Hathor was shaped like a womb. In India, Shakti temples celebrated the power of the feminine. Native American womb lodges were places of healing and vision. The Greeks had secret ceremonies, the Eleusinian mysteries, that honored feminine wisdom and rebirth. These cultures knew something we've forgotten. The womb was not just a place for physical birth. It was a place for spiritual rebirth, transformation, and deep wisdom. Even in early Christian texts that were later hidden or banned, Sophia, the divine feminine, was seen as the cosmic womb from which all life came. But as history moved forward, the world changed. These sacred stories were pushed away. The feminine was hidden, and with it, the true power of the womb. Today, many people are remembering what was once known. The womb is not just a physical organ, it holds energy, memory, deep intuition. Some women say that when they meditate with their womb, they feel a connection to something bigger than themselves. They see visions, they remember who they are. Some feel the pain of their ancestors, others feel peace like they've never known. Even people who don't have a womb can connect with this energy. The womb is also a symbol of creation, of stillness, of deep inner listening. It's like a quiet cave inside us, a place where we can go to feel, to listen, to remember. When we connect with this space, we don't just find answers. We find ourselves. For a long time, science has looked at the womb as just a place for babies, but now new studies are starting to show what ancient people already knew. Some scientists believe we carry emotional memories from before we were born. Others say the gut, which grows alongside the womb, has its own kind of intelligence, and people who do womb healing or meditation often report big changes in their emotional and spiritual life. Still, a lot of this is dismissed as unscientific or strange. But what if the truth doesn't always fit inside the box of science? What if the deepest wisdom isn't something we measure, but something we feel? You don't need to be a woman to connect with womb energy. The womb is a space, a symbol, a mystery. Inside each of us is a place of stillness and creation. Some call it the soul, others call it the void. It's the space before thoughts, before identity. It's where all things begin. In ancient mystic traditions, the womb was seen as the space where opposites meet, light and dark, masculine and feminine. It's where balance is born. Men, women, and all people can connect with this space. Because it's not about gender, it's about going inward, listening deeply, opening to something greater. Sophia means wisdom. In old stories, she was the light of divine understanding, the mother of all things, the cosmic womb. To walk the spiritual path of the womb is to return to Sophia, to listen to her whispers, to feel her presence in our bodies, our hearts and our dreams. This path doesn't require books or teachers. It asks for silence, stillness, surrender. You can begin by placing your hands on your belly, breathing, listening, trusting what you feel. Over time, the womb becomes more than a part of you. It becomes a guide, a friend, a voice that says you are held, you are sacred, you are home. So now we return to the question, what if the greatest teacher you've been seeking has been inside you all along? The womb is not a secret to solve. It's a mystery to enter. Will you be quiet enough to hear its voice? Will you be brave enough to follow where it leads? The path has always been here, waiting, ready when you are. What if the most powerful spiritual guide isn't in a book, a temple, or a wise teacher, but within the place where all life begins, the womb? We often think of the womb as just a part of the body, something related to birth and reproduction, but ancient people saw it differently. To them, the womb was a sacred space, a hidden doorway between worlds. It wasn't just about creating babies, it was about creating life in all its forms. The womb was honored as a source of deep wisdom. It was seen as a connection to the divine, a place where spirit and matter meet. But in today's world, we've forgotten this truth. We talk about the mind and the heart in our spiritual journeys, but rarely the womb. What if that's a missing piece? What if the womb holds a quiet voice, one that speaks not in words, but in feelings, dreams, and deep knowing? This is not about gender. It's about the sacred intelligence that lives inside every human being, the power to create, to feel, to transform. And maybe, just maybe, the path to remembering who we truly are begins where life itself begins, within the womb. In ancient times, people spoke of a great divine being named Sophia. She was more than just wisdom. She was the living spirit of creation. In the old stories, Sophia wasn't just floating in the heavens. She fell into the world, she became part of it, she took form, she suffered. She longed to return to the divine. Sophia was the soul of the world, the mother of all things. But over time, her story was forgotten. In many religions and philosophies, the feminine side of wisdom was hidden or erased. Logic, structure, control, these became the focus. But the soft, flowing, intuitive knowing of the feminine, that was pushed aside. The womb and Sophia are deeply connected. Both are mysterious, life-giving, and often misunderstood. Sophia's wisdom is not the kind you read in a book. It's the kind that rises from within, like a dream, a whisper, a memory. When we forget Sophia, we forget part of ourselves. Reclaiming her is not just about remembering a lost goddess. It's about reconnecting with a deep part of our being, part that holds love, grief, power, and truth all at once. The womb is where this memory lives, and Sophia is the one who guides us back to it. Imagine the womb not as an organ but as a temple, a quiet, dark space within you, where thoughts fall silent, where truth is not spoken but felt. This temple isn't only for those who carry a physical womb. It's a space that exists in spirit, a sacred place of listening that lives in everyone. In this place, time slows down. You don't think, you sense. Ancient cultures had ways of entering this inner space. They would sit in stillness. They would place their hands over their bellies. They would breathe and listen. Today, many are returning to this practice. They call it womb meditation, womb awakening. It's not about doing, it's about being. In the womb, things are born. But before they are born, they are held, gestated, loved. Your dreams, your healing, your truth, all begin in this quiet space. The womb doesn't speak in words. It speaks in symbols, feelings, sensations. When we learn to listen, we open a door to a deeper part of ourselves. This is the temple. This is where we begin to remember. There is a kind of wisdom that has been hidden for centuries. It is found in blood, specifically menstrual blood. In modern society, we are taught to hide it, be ashamed of it, treat it like a problem. But ancient people saw it differently. In temples and sacred rituals, menstrual blood was honored as a sign of power. It was called the blood of life. Women were seen as having a direct connection to the rhythms of the moon, the tides, and the earth. Their cycles were holy. In some traditions, women would go into sacred spaces during their bleeding time, not to be isolated, but to receive visions, to listen, to rest. These were known as the red tent traditions. They weren't primitive. They were wise. Today, that wisdom is almost lost, but not gone. Many women are starting to feel it again, that their cycles carry meaning, that their bodies are not broken, but sacred. And for those who don't bleed, the invitation is still there. To honor cycles, to rest, to feel the blood. Mysteries aren't just about biology. They are about the hidden power of creation itself, and the womb holds the memory of all of it. Birth is not just about babies, it's about transformation. In every moment of deep change in our lives, when we fall in love, when we lose someone, when we face fear, when we let go, we are being born again. But birth is not easy. It requires darkness. It requires surrender. It requires going deep into the unknown. Just like the womb holds the baby before birth, our inner womb holds the soul before awakening. In many myths, goddesses go into the underworld, Inanna, Persephone. They descend, lose everything, and return reborn. This is the path of the womb, a path of death and rebirth, of letting go so something new can come. When we face pain, confusion, or emptiness, we are not broken. We are in the womb, and the question becomes, will we trust the darkness long enough to be reborn from it? The womb is not just a part of the female body. It is an energy, a presence, a way of being. We all have it, whether we are men, women, or neither. It lives in our dreams, our creativity, our ability to hold silence. In a world that praises thinking, doing, controlling, the womb invites us to feel, to receive, to surrender. This doesn't make us weak. It makes us whole. The true balance is not male or female. It is inner and outer, mind and body, light and dark. To awaken the womb within us is to remember how to trust again, to soften, to listen, to love, without needing to control. The womb is where life begins, and every one of us carries its echo. So ask yourself, can I feel the womb inside me, the place that knows how to create, how to wait, how to love deeply? The womb is not only within us, it is all around us. The earth is a womb. She holds, nourishes, and births life. When we cut down forests, poison rivers, and ignore her pain, we are not just harming nature. We are disconnecting from the great Mother that birthed us. The womb teaches us how to live in rhythm, with the moon, with the seasons, with each other. When we forget that rhythm, we forget how to live. But when we remember, even in small ways, by sitting in silence, by planting a seed, by honoring our breath, we begin to heal the bond. The earth is not separate. She is our first womb, and she too is waiting for us to listen. There is a mystery at the heart of life. Is it possible to be born again without dying first? The womb holds the answer. It teaches us that every death is a doorway, every loss, a space for something new to enter. To follow the womb's path is not to run from pain, but to find meaning in it. It's to trust that even in the darkest moment, something sacred is growing. Sophia whispers to us in these times, not in loud words, but in a quiet knowing. You are not alone, you are not broken, you are being made new. The womb holds us when we forget ourselves, and when we're ready, it births us back into the world, wiser, softer, deeper, and more alive. What if the most sacred place for your spiritual journey isn't a temple or a mountain,